The Philadelphia Eagles just got some huge news to end off training camp as their most exciting rookie seemingly just took over and possibly won the starting job at one key position. Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts and the offense just lit it up in the Birds' final practice at camp, even with some injuries to some key players. Plus, Darius Cooper may have just made the Eagles roster, while Shipley has quietly had a standout camp. So I'll talk about that and all the other latest news from Eagles camp starting right now. Alright, so like I said, Eagles training camp has officially reached its end, and there have been plenty of big storylines that have gotten a lot of attention over this past month or so, but one storyline that has gone under the radar has been the development and growth of running back Shipley. As it's not been talked about really, but Shipley has quietly had a really good camp where he has shown off ability both in the run game and also as a receiver out of the backfield, including one instance as recently as Tuesday where Shipley caught 4 straight passes in team drills during practice. And that's important because I feel like one of the qualities the Eagles really do like their backup running backs to have is really good receiving ability, and Shipley definitely has that and has improved in that area this offseason. And honestly, at this point, I think Shipley seems to have established himself as the Birds' second running back behind Saquon Barkley. I mean, look no further than the 2 preseason games that the Birds have had so far, as in the first one against the Bengals, Shipley really impressed with a performance in which he had 7 carries for 48 yards, which averages out to almost 7 yards per carry, and that also included an impressive 38-yard run at one point. Not to mention that he was the first backup in that game in front of A.J. Dillon, and then in the Eagles' next preseason game against the Browns, Shipley didn't even suit up, as he was given a rest while A.J. Dillon did in fact play in that game. So, yeah, again, I mean, all signs are pointing to Shipley being the backup running back and taking over that Kenneth Gainwell type of role. But honestly, I think Shipley has the potential to be even better than Kenny G ever was, in large part because on top of all his physical ability, Shipley seems to be an incredibly smart player as well.
Shipley's second year, you've been with him both years. See any difference in him coming into year 2 than year 1? And maybe could he step into that Kenny Gainwell role, do you think?
I don't think maybe. I think he definitely can. He's a really good back. Great hands, great feet, can run routes. Smart. He always was smart. He's, hate to say this, he's probably the smartest back in the room. It kind of pisses me off how smart he is, to be honest. But he keeps me young, I guess you could say, because you always got to find somebody to go out there and compete with. And he's one of those guys, whether it's in OTAs or whether it's in drills or on the field, you want him to go out there and perform at a high level because it's only going to push you and make you go out there and perform too. So super excited for him.
Yeah, I think he's a really, really smart guy. Being around a little bit, I feel like eventually, you get to this point, everybody's super talented, fast, and all those intangibles. But I think one of his biggest intangibles is he's really smart. He can pick up the offense really well. I know it's only his second year here, but the way he has already kind of grasped, at least in my time being here, grasped different concepts and things like that. You want to be at that RB2 spot. Like, you want to have somebody who can really understand and be ready for whenever your number's called. Obviously, you're not getting as many reps necessarily as a starting guy, but hey, you got to go in here. God forbid Saquon's shoes untied, you got to go in for a play. He knows what he needs to do, man, and it's really cool to see. I know I've only known him for a couple months now, but I'm proud of him, and he continues to grow. It's always great to see young players making the most of their opportunity.
Yeah, so again, it certainly seems like Shipley had a really good offseason in training camp, and even though his role is going to be limited this season, I'm really excited to see what he can do. And someone else who I feel similarly about and who also had a fantastic offseason is the undrafted rookie wide receiver, Darius Cooper. As with the final practice at training camp wrapping up on Wednesday, it seems that Cooper has probably made this roster already, or at the very least proved that he does belong on an NFL team. I mean, it just seems like every opportunity that he got, he made the most of it. And with no A.J. Brown or DeVonta Smith once again for Wednesday's practice, that was no different, as Darius Cooper got the majority of first-team reps once again, and again, he made a very impressive play, as he went up between multiple defenders, including Quinyon Mitchell and Jihaad Campbell, and came down with an impressive strong-handed catch in traffic. And again, this is just one of many instances where Cooper has made a big-time play when presented with the opportunity, and after practice on Wednesday, Cooper even earned the praises of some of the Birds' biggest offensive stars, including Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert.
He's very, very, very calm demeanored and has very strong hands. I mean, he catches the ball very well with his hands. And when you do that, I just encourage you to trust him. And so I think for him, just continue to build with him as he continues to grow and kind of just go through that journey this year together.
If you had to pick one guy who you think is going to have a big season, who would it be?
Offensively late, it's going to be a tough battle and a big season, but I like the way he performed late with injuries. Darius Cooper, seeing him come on.
Yeah, so definitely very exciting comments there from both Jalen Hurts and especially Dallas Goedert, picking Cooper as the guy who he thinks is most likely to have a big season for the Birds. And again, I think Cooper has a very legit chance of making this roster, and possibly he already has made this roster just based on what he was able to do in training camp. But, I guess we won't know officially until we get to roster cutdown day on Tuesday. Rewinding back a little bit though, like I said, both A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith missed Wednesday's practice with injuries, and they weren't the only two guys that missed the final practice of Eagles camp, as the Birds seem to have piled up quite a few injuries over these past few weeks and days, including Jordan Mailata, who once again missed practice on Wednesday with a concussion. Then you have backup quarterback Tanner McKee, who was out again with a finger injury. You have Andrew Makuba, who was out with a hamstring injury that he suffered on Tuesday. And then you have Kelee Ringo, who was just added to the injury report with a quad injury. Which, by the way, this could be significant because Ringo already seemed to be falling out of the race to start at corner. And if this injury causes him to miss this final preseason game on Friday, then that might just be the final nail in the coffin for him. But then, moving back to the injury report, you also have edge rusher Josh Uche, who missed practice with a groin injury that I guess he must have suffered that on Tuesday. And then wide receiver Johnny Wilson, as he also missed practice after he was carted off the field Tuesday with what is being listed as a knee/ankle injury. So yeah, again, the Birds are pretty beat up right now as training camp has officially come to an end. So hopefully they can use this time between now and the start of the season to just get healthy. But going back to Wednesday's practice, even without guys like AJ, DeVonta, and even Saquon and Dallas Goedert, as they got some rest during team drills, Jalen Hurts still made a statement to end off training camp, as he had possibly his best practice of the entire summer, as he went 14 for 15 on his throws with a whopping 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. And one of those touchdowns was an impressive throw to Darius Smith, as Hurts had pressure in his face from Nolan Smith, but still delivered a nice throw. He also then threw a touchdown at one point to Grant Calcaterra, where he had perfect ball placement and hit the tight end, who hauled it in for the score. And then on top of that, Hurts also hit A.J. Dillon in the flat, who ran it in for a touchdown. And lastly, Hurts also found Jahan Dotson in the back middle of the end zone, floating a pass over multiple defenders. So overall, it's definitely awesome to see Jalen Hurts finish training camp off strong. And again, he did this pretty much without all his top weapons, so that makes it even more impressive. And overall, it definitely does seem like Jalen Hurts and the offense are trending in the right direction as training camp has now come to a close.
Yeah, I think we had a really good offseason and a really good training camp, and being able to just build on the foundation that we've established over the years. And so I think we're headed in a good direction in that. We just want to continue to build. I think for context of what training camp serves of, you want to try and find the identity. I'm not saying we're leaving here with an identity, but we know what we're capable of and we know the things that we need to work on. And so when you go into training camp, you're trying new things and you're trying to expand your repertoire and build on new things, and you take the highs with the lows, knowing that you kind of know what direction you want to be in. And at some points, even I know for Coach Patullo, he's putting an emphasis on a lot of stuff he just wants to see. That doesn't necessarily mean that it'll, come to light, out the gate. It may come to light, in the last half of the season, or maybe in the playoffs. But it's just about building. And I think we did just that.
Again, this is training camp, and we can't read too much into it, but again, it is definitely a positive sign to see Hurts and the offense just have a day as good as this to end off camp. And again, hopefully guys like A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith can take this time between now and the season opener to get healthy, because that's really only the slight concern for me right now. And Nick Sirianni didn't do much to reassure us fans about that either, by the way.
And Nick, any concern with A.J. and DeVonta specifically that they won't be ready for week 1?
Yeah, and we, again, don't have to get all into that information at this particular time. Bob will get you all the things for practice today. But, yeah, they're working really hard to get themselves ready to go.
I mean, at this point, it is absolutely no surprise whatsoever that Sirianni really didn't give us any information there. But from the information that we've already heard, I'm still pretty optimistic that both AJ and DeVonta are perfectly fine and will be ready to go for the start of the season. But if we do get any new information, I'll make sure to keep you guys updated. And speaking of updates, we have a pretty big one regarding the linebacker position coming out of the last day of training camp. As of course, all summer long, there's been a battle going on between Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and the first-round rookie Jihaad Campbell for who was going to start next to Zack Baun to begin the season. And for pretty much all camp, it's been Jeremiah Trotter Jr. who has gotten the majority of first-team reps at linebacker, while Jihaad Campbell kind of started out with the second team, and then got occasional first-team reps here and there, and then once Zack Baun went out with an injury, he started to get a lot of first-team reps as well. But Wednesday was big because for the first time since Baun has been back from his injury, it was Jihaad Campbell who began the day starting next to him over Jeremiah Trotter Jr., which I would say is probably a signal that Campbell has officially overtaken Trot in this battle. Now, is this super surprising? No, in my opinion, it definitely is not, because Campbell was obviously the Birds' first-round pick this year, and as much as Trot is a smart player that knows how to play the linebacker position very well, it's pretty clear that Campbell's the more gifted player athletically, and he's got a higher ceiling. So again, it would make sense to me that Campbell has seemingly pulled ahead in this race, especially since he's had such a good training camp. I mean, it seems like he's just gotten better and better as time has gone on, and he makes a play pretty much every day. And on Wednesday, that just so happened to be getting a sack on Jalen Hurts. So again, as of right now, it seems to me at least as if Jihaad Campbell is the favorite to start week 1 against Dallas. And then at cornerback, it seems as if Adoree Jackson is currently winning that race, as he started again on Wednesday, and over this past week, it seems as if he's very much pulled ahead of Kelee Ringo in this battle. Now, the wild card here is obviously the new addition Jakorian Bennett, as since he's gotten here, I feel like he's probably been the most impressive of the Birds' corners, besides obviously Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. So we'll see if one more preseason game and these couple weeks in the lead up to the game against the Cowboys give Bennett the chance to catch up in this race. Moving on though, and circling back to the linebackers, Zack Baun made headlines on Wednesday as he was officially named to the NFL's top 100 list, coming in at number 26. And obviously, this is very well deserved as Baun had an absolutely historic season for the Birds at linebacker, and he was easily one of the best defensive players in the entire league last year. I mean, I would argue he belongs even higher on this list, just strictly based off of last season. But again, it's very well deserved for him to be here on this list, so shout out to him. Now, on top of this, the Eagles also put out a really cool mic'd up video from training camp on Wednesday starring Jordan Mailata and Jalyx Hunt. And there are honestly a lot of awesome nuggets from this video, as it really just highlights the competitive culture that the Eagles have and the nature of these practices. And it was really cool to see.
You're on the wrong side of town, son.
I think I'm right here.
No.
Right now.
He said over there.
Bro, we finna whoop they ass.
Punch me. Don't let me hit you first, because I can draw you back. Punch me. There you go. You gotta get that pop, that initial pop with your hands. To jolt the defender upwards, and then when you drive your feet, it's easy.
Good shit.
Hell yeah! Come on! Come on! Yeah, that was a really good rush, boy. But that was, it was hard. I couldn't read what you were doing because your rush is so like, you've been working on that. You've been working on your hands a lot. That's even, you can me up. Oh, hell no. You get in. 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 I ain't talking about tackling. I'm talking about the end zone, bro. Yes, all day. Ain't nobody talking about tackling you. I'm talking about getting the end zone, boy. Hey, boys. No, I mean that. I mean that. It's gonna get me better, bro.
Yeah, so again, it was definitely really cool to get a behind-the-scenes look into Eagles training camp practices and just the competitive culture of it all. And I just really think that speaks volumes about the Eagles culture and how much these guys truly do respect each other and just push each other to get better. But that said, again, training camp is now officially over, which is honestly crazy to say. I feel like it's gone by super fast this year, but we're now on to obviously the final preseason game against the New York Jets on Friday. And you guys know I'm going to be covering everything with that, just as well as everything else Eagles related in the lead up to the start of the regular season. So if you don't want to miss anything, make sure you subscribe and you turn on notifications. And also leave a like down below to show some support, because it really does help me out a ton. So if we can get to at least 500 likes on this video. And also leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And if you want to watch another Eagles video going over some other stuff from camp, you can check this out right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.